What's going on, YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with another 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross video. In today's video, we're talking all about Coin Shop Bond, how to build him, how to use him in PvP, and the best place to use him in other parts of the game, like farming because he's really good at it, and just how to make him tick and make him work really well for you in the game. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so if you were there for the stream last night, we had an abysmal bloodbath of a time getting our Coin Shop Bond here. It was 18 multis, not a lot of SSRs. You know, we spent like 600 diamonds on it, but he is my favorite character. I do believe he is very, very strong. It helped me get some coins, although we didn't really get the SSRs, but I just want to say thank you so much for being there, and hopefully you had fun, and next time we can have a little bit more fun and not have to drain the bank for one of our units. So thank you guys for being there. But we did end up getting him, and we're in this video, like I said, we're going to go over everything I know about the unit so you guys can be more knowledgeable and be able to use him to his maximum power. So the first thing I want to go over is his ability. So the first ability he has is going to be like an AoE damage dealing ability that also lifesteal. So this is going to be his like sustainability card and his damage card. So we look at his modifier, 250%, really not that high for a gold card, but it is AoE, remember, and it's going to give him lifesteal back. And the thing about Bond is he has the ability to snatch up the enemy's attack stat. So his attack stat is going to be blown out of proportion comparatively to what he actually has before he goes into battle. So just be aware of that when you're looking at these multipliers. But this is a great move for sustaining when you're doing your farm teams, to be annoying in PvP and get your health back. So like they're focusing Bond and you just get all your health back using this lifesteal. And it's an amazing card that does do the damage if you have his snatch, if his attack is buffed up from his snatch ability, which we'll talk about now. This is what makes Bond Bond, just like in the anime. He has the ability to still like power levels from enemies and bolster himself up. If you get it to the gold card, it's going to be 50% attack and defense to all enemies. At level 1, it's 20, 2 is 30, and then level 3, it's going to be 50%. Now, remember, this is going to be AoE. So he's stealing attack and defense from this unit, attack and defense from this unit, attack and defense from this unit, meaning that they are doing less damage, taking more damage, and Bond is getting OP, tanky, strong, right? A few things about this ability, though. They're intertwined, right? So if the enemy would purify themselves, well, you have to have the extort chain on them to be able to be stealing their energy, so Bond would lose his buffs. If Bond was to get frozen, petrified, whatever it is to make him lose his buffs, they would lose their debuffs because they are linked together. So be aware of that. It's going to make PvP a little bit more rough to, you know, navigate, but that's all part of the game, right? That's where the skill comes in, making sure you understand when to use your extort and when not to. Again, it is 150% because you're going to be stealing from three. If there's 3 people out there, you're going to be stealing 50% from each of them, so it's going to be very, very strong. And when you use this ability, when you're farming comps or when you're trying to, you know, mow down mobs of enemies, he's going to be able to make it much easier for your other units to also do more damage. So that's why I really like Bond in a farming team comp. One of the things they always talked about with Bond was that his AI liked to use his damage dealing ability sometimes before a snatch. What I have learned is that he is using snatch and global almost every time when it is available before he does his damage dealing ability. So that's like the one thing he goes to. So I don't know if that's a global change or if maybe that happened in JP and, you know, people just weren't using him at the time to see that happen, but that is something going on at least here on our side. And last but not least, we do have his ultimate, which is going to inflict a percentage damage here, 400% when you have the combined attack, and also extort 50% single target attack and defense. So you don't have to worry about trying to get a gold snatch card. This is going to be single target, not AoE, but it's going to do some big damage, and then you're also going to extort attack and defense 50% from that target, so then maybe somebody else can do more damage, and then Bond's just going to become super tanky. So moving on from that, he does have a very good passive, in my opinion. Extort life. Decrease all enemies' HP related stats, regeneration rate, lifesteal, HP, stuff like that, by 10% at the start of the next turn if the hero doesn't take damage. So it's kind of like a pseudo taunt when in PvP. I mean, if you're not keeping this in check, one, he's debuffing your entire team so people like Jericho can do more damage, right? Because that is a debuff. And 2, you're having less lifesteal, less HP. You're already less tanky if you took your defense and stuff. You have to be aware of this. So tapping Bond all the time in PvP is something you really have to do, even if it's just a little tap on the head to make sure this passive doesn't start getting out of control. And then it also works again when we're talking about farming, because in the farming game, if he doesn't get hit, and it seems like the AI is aware of this because they're always tagging Bond every turn. I mean, they I don't know if it's because my Bond's my strongest unit, but they like hitting him hard. So this will, if they do not hit him, if the AI doesn't hit him for a turn, he's going to lower their HP stats, making it easier to also kill them along with his defense snatch up, right? His defense lowering. So it's really, really good. Bond is a really, really good character. So now what I want to do is move over to equipment and show you guys what builds I'm running on him and what options you have. All right, guys. So as you can see, Bond is going to want to be built attack defense set. He's going to mostly be looking at getting attack percentage substats, defense percentage substats, then HP at the bottom. He is going to be a monster. You know, he's stealing that attack. He's bolstering up his defense. You want to build those stats out of him. Those are going to be the best because the higher his attack is, the more damage he's going to be doing with his abilities, etc. And then he's going to be survivable in those situations in PvP where you'd want him to be. Those are also the stats, attack, defense, HP, that raise your combat class the most. They're the ones that affect it the most. And Bond could be your person who bolsters that up in your farming comps to make sure you're always going first, and in PvP, geared PvP, gearless PvP, none of this gear is going to matter, of course, but in geared PvP, going to help you with getting that CC up as well. So looking over the way I have him built, remember, I am slowly working on my SSR gear on the left, and then on the right, I have the C gear with the 5-star awakening and going there. That was just a follow. Thank you for that follow. So looking over here, it's the lay of the land with these rolls here on this SSR attack bracelet, because I'm not using any of the diamonds and I'm out of anvils. You can buy them in the PvP shop. I haven't. So it really just got a bunch of crit chance. So Bond's going to be awesome if you can get him to crit because it's AoE, going to be doing crit, a lot of damage, but that's not really what I want there. I actually want to tax that. So hopefully in the future I can reroll this, but I've gotten kind of lucky of getting a lot of crit there. Crit 9.9, and these have just been, they don't have any substats, they've just been +5. And then looking over on the right side, we're going with attack and the top, attack, match it up. We have defense, and then the bottom is where you can kind of get a little loosey-goosey. I have HP and a little bit of life still. You can add to his like sustainability by putting a lot of life still there. Personally, for me though, I think I'm going to switch that life still to HP, just bolster his stats even more than what he had, and try to make him a tanky combat class, you know, polarizing units, because essentially he's just going to work really well and do a lot of damage because he steals everybody's attack and then he unleashes hell on everybody. So what are the other builds you can kind of do with Bond? Where else can you go? Well, you can do attack crit damage. His crit chance really isn't that high, and remember when you look at my crit chance, it is being increased by this top ability right here, the 9.9%. So it's really not that high, and you can't put a crit set on him. That's just going too overboard. You really want that attack set. So you might go crit damage, but you really aren't going to have the highest, you know, chance in the world unless you sacrifice your attack substats for crit chance substats. The next one you guys could do is life still set. Give him a little bit of survivability, make sure he can heal a little bit more, but I just don't think he really needs it. I think the defense is where you want him to be, personally. So that's how you gear out your Bond. Best of luck out there with your rolling on your gear and on your SSR gear, because I know we're not kind of at that point yet where we can start re-rolling with anvils. They're not plentiful just yet for a lot of us here, so yeah, that's the gear. So what I want to do now is go ahead and head into gearless PvP and talk about how to use them in the gearless PvP, what you should be strategizing about, and be a, you know, because Blue King's everywhere and he's kind of like a thorn in the side. He's got the elemental advantage, but he's kind of a thorn in the side anyway. So we're gonna move over to PvP and show him off. So guys, this is my PvP team. Don't make fun of me for only being in gold 1. I literally just started doing PvP, like taking it seriously. I got up to gold, then stopped doing it for a while. Sometimes I only did it like a couple of times a day to get the bonuses. But this is the PvP team. I think I like it a lot. One, we have a cleanse with our king, our blue king. We have the cleanse and the petrify. That's to counteract the other bonds that we know are going to be showing up a lot in the meta. We want to get rid of that extort ability and keep ourselves safe. We have Bond here. Obviously, we're going to show off how he can work. And then we have Jericho, because Jericho is a nice single target nuke damage dealer that benefits from Bond's extort because, one, the defense is lowered, so she's doing more damage, and two, the debuff from his passive if they don't hit him and the debuff from his extort itself will activate her S1 to allow her to get that damage bonus going in. Looking at what association you guys should do for Bond, obviously Jericho is going to be your best option because of the combined attack, so the fate attack. So I went ahead and leveled up this red Jericho a little bit, not too much. It actually, the game allows you to use both Jerichos. I guess they're somehow considered different Jerichos. That'll happen sometimes, like with Elizabeth Hawk and then Elizabeth straight up. So I put her on there. I am using Jericho in PvP. Obviously, the best option would be the SSR Jericho for the most stats given to our Bond, but that's the one we're going to go with here today, is just that red Jericho. Make sure we have the combined attack. Remember that when we do our associations for our units, their gear, their awakening, their ultimate gauge matters, because the ultimate gauge allows more when you get it all the way up to maximum 6 out of 6. It allows 10% of the substats to go over to the unit instead of just, you know, wherever it starts out like 7%, 5% going all the way down, you know what I mean, depending on how many ult gauges you have. So overall, we're going to go ahead and get into a match, and I'm going to show you guys what the strategy is around Bond and give you guys an example of how I use them in a fight. All right, guys, so we've skipped ahead to where we're getting into a match. Again, I'm going to be doing my best to describe how to fight against Bond and then also how to use Bond. We're against a Bond and a King, so in the very beginning of the game, I'm going to be focusing King while also bopping Bond on the head so I don't lose that HP value. At the very beginning when you're using Bond, and if you're against Bond, most people that use Bond will wait to at least an S2 or a skill like 2-star snatch or even higher to a 3-star, and the same with his AoE ability. You want to kind of hold off on him, one, because he can be cleansed by King, he can be petrified by King and lose that snatch, and then also once we kill King off, you know, we're good to go. We can start just unleashing all these snatches and not have to worry about it too much, etc. So that's where we're fighting here. I am focusing King with my Jericho, you know, putting the bleed on, hitting, and then doing a little bit of damage with my King, slowly trying to build ultimates to do in this fighting. And also with Jericho, what works really well is you can see he's already wasted a Petrify, which could mean he wouldn't have another one. But the way my cards rolled out here, Jericho's just going to be able to unleash devastating power, and this is where Bond and Jericho's kind of, you know, synergy work together. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to snatch with Bond. I know I said wait to an S2, but that gives me the debuff I need so that my Jericho can actually do more damage on her S1, and as you can see, I did hit pretty big there on the King, hit him again, and he went down. So now I don't have to worry about King, you know, stopping me, petrifying me, or, you know, cleansing off of my snatch. So I'm free roam when it comes to that snatch ability. And instead of most of the time I've been seeing a Merlin come in here from the slot, or a Gustav to try to fight against the Bond, because remember, if you're frozen or you're petrified, etc., you are going to lose that extort. You can see that I didn't in that last round hit Bond, and you know, that's one of the things, man. So now my HP stats are down. This cannot be cleansed. The only way to get this off of you is to smack Bond to get rid of it. So I'm going to go ahead and heal here because I'm a little bit low. I want to get rid of, I do want to cleanse his extort that he did, and then I'm going to go ahead and go in for a little bit more damage onto the enemy Bond, because the enemy Bond is also a very scary unit to be dealing with. He is still debuffed via the extort that my Bond put on him earlier in the match, so I am able to still use my Jericho to her full extent of the law. So you can see the Green Meliodas, and this is why I don't really like Green Meliodas in PvP. He's kind of just being over there being ignored. Yes, he's building up an ultimate gauge, and yes, it's a very powerful one, but all of his other abilities are kind of negligible, right? I just don't hit him until either he doesn't have a counter up or I have an ultimate ready. So here I'm going to go ahead and cleanse off the extort that he had to get rid of his buffs. I'm going to go ahead and ultimate with Jericho onto the Bond, because I want to get rid of Bond. He's the next biggest threat in this PvP team. Did 109,000 because we did crit. Lots of damage there. And then we're going in, and I'm going to start attacking Meliodas now because he is the next biggest threat, and he didn't have counter up. So at this point, it's over, right? We have won. You can see that Bond did a lot of things. One, he was lowering their HP. He was kind of drawing some of their attacks. Even if they're AoE, they do have to spend those. He can draw the cleanse out from the Kings early on, so they can't even heal with it, if that makes any sense. And then for me to be targeting their team, which you'll see a lot of King Bond combos, I want to get rid of King first, so my Bond has free reign, and then I'll focus the Bond after that. If you get to a point to where you can use King ultimate, it's over. Like, I mean, that's the way I feel in a lot of these matches, at least where I'm at in the game. I'm just okay with that. And then here I just attacked the Meliodas because I want this match to be over. He totally annihilates my poor King. And then Bond is finally going to go out here and use his gold 3-star card and just, he smacks him around and does like 12k damage. So we're going to go ahead and move on now to another PvP match where I can kind of show Bond more off because that was a lot of Jericho. Moving into this next PvP match, I know the last one was kind of a lot of Jericho. Here I'm hoping to be able to use Bond a little bit more to my advantage. When I'm facing against a King and Bond mix, I do tend to go with Jericho to try to kill him off as fast as possible. You can see here, we have a little bit of a disadvantage, right? There are no water units. A lot of the meta is water units, but we see a green King this time and 2 red units. So we are going to be at a disadvantage on our 2 damage dealers we have on our squad here, but we are still doing the same strategy. Essentially, I'm going to wait until I get a stronger Bond card, a stronger snatch. I want it to be able to steal more ability power, attack, and defense, excuse me. And then I'm also targeting the King because I don't have disadvantage with my Jericho there. It's going to be even. The cards rolling out are Bond cards, so we're actually going to be able to see him start whipping around that nunchuck and start doing some damage. We're going to see what he does here. He doesn't have a way to really get rid of or fight our snatch with the team comp he has out right now. We're pretty solid there, so we're going to be able to go ahead and use it at the 2-star version. We're not going to have to wait till the 3-star version. We're going to be okie dokie. So you can see here, I'm going to combine the snatch cards, and then I'm going to play it and take up their stuff, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit him with the good old-fashioned nunchuck AoE. And you guys can see, even at being disadvantaged, I even crit there. You can see how big of chunks that I do. With they didn't hit the Bond, so HP, their HP is going down. They've been extorted, their defense is down, and then also Bond is so powerful, he's doing a lot of damage himself, going in and hurting the enemy. So you can see that if left unchecked, Bond can slowly spiral out of control. He doesn't seem to be understanding how Bond works. He's not hitting Bond. My opponent here, maybe not used to it because the Bond just came out. Now I have the ultimate to be able to use, so I'm going to be able to extort an enemy. And if you have in the case here where maybe I could finish off the king, maybe I could finish off the Slater, I'm going to go for the Slater because the Slater is more likely to live. That way my extort stays active, so I can use it later on. But the HP has been lowered too much. My Bond has been too powerful, so I go ahead and take him out anyway, and it's no big thing. And now at this point, with only being able to use 2 cards a turn, my opponent is pretty much in trouble. You can see that we do have the Merlin in the backup here to somewhat be able to contend with Bond. Maybe if one of their other members had died, this could be a counter to Bond again with the freeze. But it really ends up being, this devastating damage here, and nothing too that my opponent could do to come back from it, because my Bond was left unchecked, and the whole HP going down thing started going in. He started building up with his extorts and just did massive amounts of damage. So we're gonna go ahead and skip over the end of this PvP match, because you guys could probably tell how it's gonna go, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to the farming portion of this character showcase and show you guys why he's so good in PvE farming situations. And for the last part of the unit showcase, again, we are showing him farming. We're gonna go to the SP dungeon where you can get pendants, the last stage, and show off what I have here. So again, if you've watched my farm guide video about the best farming team, things have changed a bit now with this Bond coming out, but you can still rewatch that because everything you learned in that video does apply here. I'm using all 3 of the same characters. Just we're having SR Green Elizabeth Hawk be moved into the sub spot. The reason being is that her passive here allows for us to get 10% HP related. Here, I'll show you guys. Increases all allies' HP-related stats by 10% in battles except for PvP and deathmatch. HP-related stats includes life steal. So not only is my team getting a little bit stronger, they're also getting a little bit more life steal, and that really helps with Bond with sustainability and making sure he can go ham and go hard when he's in there doing the damage. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is let this run out, and we can watch as what Bond does is Bond will use Snatch first. Now, that was a big complaint about him when it came to farming. It looked like his AI was kind of messed up. He would just start doing damage without ever snatching up. But it seems like in Global, at least what I've tested, guys, again, I have only had it for like a half a day. It looks like he loves to use Snatch first, and what that's going to allow, watch, let's see what happens here. So we're using Snatch, lowering their defense and their attack, and then also allowing our other units like Hauser, who's an AoE boss, to come in and just do more damage because their defense is lowered. And look at that. We've almost cleared the first. If my Hauser was a bit stronger, that first wave would be dead immediately, which is fantastic. And if the enemies do not hit, which they chose, unless they have another attack, let's wait and see. They chose not to hit Bond. You can see they got their HP lower like we were doing in PvP. So they're definitely going to go down now. They just do not have enough HP. They lost 10% of that. And yeah, so we're going in and doing a lot more damage. Moving on to the boss stage here, we'll see how well he does in this part of the stage. Let's see if we have a snatch. That'd be great if we did. We ended up not getting one. So Bond can do AoE damage. Let's see if no, because he did at the very end. So we can see how much damage he does. This is without a snatch. Sadly, we didn't have one, so he's not going to be doing, Omega Lulz amounts of damage, but he still should do pretty good. And again, with this farm team, you guys can get through this. Look at that. That's still pretty good damage slapping across. That was an S1 or 1-star without any snatch. That's going to be great. And then we have a 2-star here to see how that does. It is going to take a lot of farming, guys. I mean, I have him fully awakened. I have him geared out. All of these units are geared out. We have a level 60 Vine Height. He needs to be leveled up a bit. And I chose to keep him in the squad. One, to keep giving Pierce rate up to my Hauser. And also because the SR Green Elizabeth kind of does the same things that Bond wants to do, right? She wants the single target defensive break. Then she has an AoE damage dealing ability, does you know, do pierce damage, but Bond's going to be a little bit better with that. And then on top of that, you know, the ultimates are going to be the same single target, but Bonds is going to be better because it does extort. So when I do steal that defense and attack, it allows my team to take less damage along with the extort instead of it just being that single target defense break. And I hope that makes sense of why I chose to replace SR Green Elizabeth Hawk on my team with Bond instead of replacing somebody like Vinehite. Plus, it allows me to have, if I wanted more green coverage, maybe I'd put Vinehite, you know, out of the team if I was going against a lot of blue. But in this case, dang it, dude, we didn't get an SR. But you can see how quick that was. That was actually very, very fast. You see it kind of worked out where you snatch first and he allowed my team to go in. But maybe I would switch off and put the green Eliza Hawk in if I was going against all blue comp, because then, you know, I'm getting that elemental advantage. And maybe that's when I would move him out. But other than that, I like her in the sub spot here on this squad. So all in all, guys, I hope I taught you at least a little bit about Bond. I'm not saying I'm a PvP master yet. I'm not saying that I'm just this Bond know-it-all kind of guy. But at least I hope I put you in the right direction so that you know how to fight against Bond in PvP, how to use Bond if you end up getting him, and maximizing your farming potential, because the faster you can farm, the more stamina pots you can use, and the more goodies that you can get. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any more questions about Bond, and if you'd like to see any other heroes me do this on. I don't mind doing more hero showcases. I actually quite enjoy it. Subscribe for more content here on this YouTube channel. Follow me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Claic Yuzolt, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.